Our next story is from West Africa, a region rife with coup-hit countries and countries that face terror insurgencies like Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger. Their elected governments were struggling, so the militaries overthrew their leaders. Then they began fighting the terrorists. But they haven't had much success. Last year, casualties increased by 38% in terror-related incidents. And this discredits the juntas further. Remember what they said when they took power. They justified their coups, saying they will fight terror more efficiently. But they've been failing. So now the juntas have regrouped and they've launched a joint task force. Here's our report.
West Africa is a hotbed for terrorists. It is home to numerous groups and factions. You have the best known ones, like Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, or the Islamic State Sahel province, and of course, Boko Haram. Then you have the up-and-comers, like Ansar ul-Islam, or the rapidly growing Jamaat Nasr al-Islam wal Muslimin. This area of West Africa and the Sahel has been called the world's new center of terrorism. So you can imagine how tough it is to fight the myriad of militants. Many have tried to quash them. There have been a number of alliances and organizations devoted to this. You once had the G5 Sahel. It comprised of Mauritania, Chad, Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali. They were aided by their former colonial overlord, France, and other Western powers. But this group proved ineffectual, and some of the militaries got tired of waiting for success. So you had a slew of coups in the region, and 3 of the G5 have broken off into a separate group: Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger. They now call themselves the Alliance of Sahel States. All 3 nations have seen coups in recent years. Mali in August 2020 and May 2021. Burkina Faso in January and September 2022, and Niger last July. The militaries there decided to overthrow the Western-aligned democratic governments. They said the governments were a hindrance in the fight against terror. The militaries wanted to take matters into their own hands, and they have done so, to the detriment of security in the region. Terror attacks are up. Deaths are up by 38%. This is according to a US-based crisis monitoring group. They say there were 8,000 terror-related deaths in Burkina Faso alone last year, and the trend has continued. A few days ago, 170 people were killed in Burkina Faso. Authorities say the victims were executed. This was after terrorists attacked 4 villages in Burkina Faso's Yatenga province. About half the country is still outside the government's control, and the situation isn't great in other allied Sahel nations either. So what are they doing about it? Forming a joint force, apparently. This force was announced yesterday by Niger's army chief. He said it would be operational as soon as possible. But we don't know how it relates to the overall alliance. This force may just be a part of the Alliance of Sahel States, the group's coalition force dedicated to fighting terror. If that is the case, why did it take so long? The alliance was formed last September, and 6 months later, they're still working out the details. The fact is, these countries had more options before the coups. They had help from more neighboring nations. They had Western support and support from a UN mission. None of them managed to eradicate the terror groups. Now, the coup coalition promises to do it with less soldiers. Striking out alone isn't the best option. Mending ties with neighbors may reap better rewards, because so far, the juntas seem to be out of their depth.